Norbert Wiener was concerned with thinking about feedback systems, a type of thinking that is immensely important to society today or to any complicated society.
Many know George Washington Carver as that peanut guy, but this hardly scratches the surface when it comes to arguably the most important and influential agriculturalist in American history.
The discovery of the structure of DNA was one of the most important scientific achievements in the last century.
His theories and ideas laid the groundwork for the digital revolution.
The Apollo 11 moon landing was one of the boldest milestones in human history. Yet it almost didn't happen.
If you've watched part 1, you already know the uncomfortable truth. And if you haven't, this is what we'll be doing. We will be looking at the stories that were erased from the school books. We will be looking at people that built the very world we live in today, whose names were removed from school books. And we'll be seeing the stories of people who arrived far too early, who spoke too quietly, and who threatened the wrong systems. And here's the thing, this is a pattern, because once you start seeing it, you'll notice it everywhere. In your food, on your phone, in your medication, on your car, and even through the way information has been directed to. Today, we will be going even deeper into the stories that have shaped the reality we live in now. Not new heroes, but instead the same conspiracy theory. Different faces, but now, let us begin. And let us start off with the women that made communication possible. Hedy Lamarr, the most beautiful secret. Hedy Lamarr was one of the most famous actresses of her time. She was basically like Hollywood royalty. During the World War II, while some of the world only saw glamour, Hedy saw something else. Hedy noticed the problem. Torpedoes were easy to jam. Radio signals were far too predictable for enemies to intercept. So she did something insane. She invented the frequency hopping spread spectrum. This was a way for signal to bounce unpredictably, making it impossible to block or intercept. With excitement, she showed her idea to the US Navy, but instead with meeting her with an applause, they laughed at her. They told her to stop this and sell war bonds instead. And with that information, the only thing she had thought would have been right to do was file a patent and just let the idea die. But decades later, the same idea became the foundation for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS. Your phone is able to communicate with your Wi-Fi and your phone get the GPS signal, all because of an insane actress. But unfortunately, nobody knows her for this invention. But here's the thing, once information could move freely, someone had to figure out what information actually is. Claude Shannon, the man who measured thought. Claude Shannon wasn't your fancy individual. He had no scandals, no previous speeches, just an engineer who asked a forbidden question. What if information is mathematical? He proved that words, images, music, and thought could all be reduced to bits. That single idea birthed data compression, error correction, digital communication, and, as we know it, the modern internet. And yet, most people don't even know his name. And that's because Shannon didn't build products. He built limits. He was the man that defined how fast information could move. And everything since we know in modern computation was built off of this equation. You see, the world runs on math designed by a man who never wanted fame. But once information could move, what will happen when it starts controlling lives? Rosalind Franklin, the discovery that was taken. Rosalind Franklin didn't discover DNA. She proved that it had structure. And her X-ray diffraction image, photo 51, was the missing key. Watson and Crick saw this at the time, but what they didn't do was applaud her, but instead, they didn't ask for permission. They took the idea and published it first, and they won the Nobel Peace Prize. But Rosalind died at 37 of cancer, possibly from radiation exposure from the work. And the uncomfortable thing about his story is, it was his idea that pioneered modern medication, and all of this was standing on her data. But instead of showing her story, history preferred to show a different story. Somebody had to decide who benefits from its progress. George Washington Carver, the man who fed the future. Carver was born into slavery. He had no money, he didn't have a formal lab, and yet he was the man that revolutionized agriculture. He taught farmers how to rotate crops, how to rebuild soil, and how to feed large communities substantially. He invented thousands of uses for sweet potatoes and peanuts. And the thing is about him, he didn't do it to get rich or famous, but to free farmers from debt. Companies from all around came and asked him to patent his work, but Carver refused. He said that knowledge belongs to everyone. So then history just called him a teacher. Meanwhile, industrial agriculture was booming, and it slowly forgot the man who warned us about what this kind of greed can do. And this shows us that when systems grow without ethics, they rot from the inside. Margaret Hamilton, the woman who saved the moon. The date is July 20, 1969. The Apollo 11 had almost failed. Minutes before landing, alarms started screaming and computers were becoming overloaded. Mission control started to panic, but Marguerite didn't. And that's because she had created a software to prioritize survival. You see, this system ignored non-essential tasks in dangerous scenarios. And this invention managed to save astronauts' lives, because later on in that day, those astronauts managed to land safely. Her software had saved humanity's greatest achievement. And yet, for decades, software was treated as a secondary. It became invisible, just like her. And then we look forward, and software is everything these days. And almost nobody knew who taught machines how to choose wisely. But when machines learn to choose on their own, who teaches them? Norbert Wiener, the warning we ignored. Norbert Wiener was an inventor. To put it specifically, he invented cybernetics, the science of feedback, the beginning of humans and machines learning from each other. He predicted automations, surveillance, and AI decision loops. And with this invention, he begged governments to slow down, but they didn't listen to him. And that's because power loves speed. And now we can see the fruits of his ideas. Algorithms decide what you see, what you buy, who gets hired, who gets flagged. But the unfortunate thing is that Wiener wasn't forgotten, but instead they turned him into an inconvenience, the thread that connects everything. Here's the thread. The people that build the world are really the people that end up controlling it. They didn't win because they were right. They win only if the system allows it. And that's because innovation doesn't move forward. It leaks out through the cracks created by the people who refuse to stop thinking. And every time history just tells you that it just happened, you'll know this, that somebody had to pay the ultimate price. And if you're here from part 1, we can see that part 1 showed us the builders and part 2 showed us the systems. But will there be a part 3? Comment down below if you want a part 3 on this video, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.